sir, as you get ready to your first week going into the season?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. Obviously, getting these guys around, just being able to hear to actually game plan against, for another team. We're excited, just ready to get out there on Sunday at 1 o'clock and put the ball down and go.
Coach said he wanted y'all to have a really tough training camp. You feel that you all did, and how has that prepared you all for the season opener?
Yeah, like I said before, Coach, tries to make everything as hard as he possibly can on us. So then when it comes time for the game kind of comes by a little smoother, or we've seen, this look before that look. So, when we go into practice and we're beating up on each other every single day, we know that it's just like iron sharpens iron, and it's, best for, not only ourselves but the whole team.
And then I asked Drake this because, we don't get to see much. Y'all didn't play that much in the exhibition season. How's everything been coming together? How does it look for you guys?
Yeah, it's been looking great. Obviously, we got a couple new things in that, we'll go in there and we'll work out, obviously. But, as far as, my relationship with all the receivers and tight ends and anyone who could possibly get the ball is great. And, we'll keep continuing to build throughout, not only this week and, coming soon, but, throughout the entire season. We always talk about we just want to continue to grow, 1% each day, come in here and get better at something, whatever that may be.
Des, I'm curious how it feels different going into this week than it did going into your first game last year.
Yeah, a lot less, anxiety. For me, it's just about being prepared, and which I feel like, we're continuing to do. Obviously, it's early in the week, but, by the time Sunday comes, that, not only myself, but, all other 10 guys on the field with me will be just as prepared, and, it'll be fun.
Was your head spinning a little bit last year before, I guess it was New Orleans, I think, right?
Yeah, obviously, I was pretty good with our game plan as far as what we wanted to do as an offense, and then you started talking about, what they wanted to do as a defense, and I think that's where, as a rookie, sometimes, that's where they can get you at is, showing you different looks, mixing up different things, bringing it from a different way. And, I felt like I've done a good job of, not only learning and understanding our offense to a T, but, other defenses as well.
Ridder was talking a little bit about kind of a goal of week one for the offense as a whole is to just have a clean operation. How much do you kind of in the back of your mind have that as a goal for yourself in terms of your role in this offense?
Yeah, that's huge on me. First, obviously, communicating the play, getting in and out the huddle, and then executing it at the line of scrimmage, whatever that may be, a dummy cadence, a motion, whatever, shift, whatever it may be. Just making sure that we're all lined up, all on the same page. We get all of our checks, make sure everyone's communicating. And because, at the end of the day, almost every team will say, it's not going to be the team on the other side of the field that's going to beat you. It's most likely going to be yourself that you get beat by. So if we're able to clean up, a lot of those pre-snap mistakes, post-snap, whatever it may be, then, you have a higher success rate.
Desmond, what's something you do on game day to kind of keep yourself grounded in the moment, so to speak?
Excuse me. Just go like every other day. For me, like I said, I prepared throughout the week. I've prepared for this moment and where I need to be. So, for my biggest thing is not making a moment too big or not making a moment too low. So for me, it's just going in there, knowing exactly what I have to do and how to do it. And then at that point, it's just about going and doing it.
I know that experience kind of, I guess, gets rid of the anxiety a little bit, but what is it about the way that you're feeling right now? How did you get to this point?
Preparation. I just felt like ever since, I got named the starter, whatever it may have been, that, I've just known what gets people, I've had conversations with different people of how they got out the league and, what they thought they could have done to keep their careers going. And a lot of them talk about preparation, always being prepared for anything at any moment. And so for me, I feel like that's where, my biggest thing is just making sure that I'm prepared. Because, you get out there and things start flying, it gets hectic. He might ask what he has or he might ask what he has, and so you have to be ready for everything. And that's just on our side of the ball. And then, like we said, then you got the defense side of the ball who's going to throw everything at you in either which way. So you have to be prepared what they do as well.
Obviously not a lot of preseason snaps for you, but we've been talking so long about the intensity of camp. Can that help you at all as you head to week one?
Yeah, like we were just talking about, our intensity throughout this entire camp has been go, go, go. And, you know, as an offense, that's kind of, you know, how we set our standard. That's kind of what we want to do. We want to play fast. We want to break the huddle, get up to the ball, get up to the line of scrimmage, put the pressure on them. You know, a big thing that we talk about is a play clock that obviously I see every time. But, you know, we want to break that huddle, you know, north of 20 seconds on the play clock. That way we get to the line of scrimmage and the defense is scrambling, whatever that may be. Or also we have time to make our checks and whatever that may need be.
How have you seen Tyler Algier develop from y'all's rookie season to now and this role he's taken on working with Bijan?
Yeah, he's done a great job of just becoming a leader within himself and a leader within his room. And, you know, like I kind of say for myself, he also doesn't make things too big or too small. So, you know, he always looks on how he can get better and what he can do to grow. And then obviously, you know, you see Bijan in there, and now it's, you know, what can I do to help others? How can I help him learn? What's the quickest way I can do this? So, you know, for me and just looking at Tyler from the outside, you know, he's became a leader that, you know, he wasn't last year. You know, last year Tyler was just more the quiet guy, just hand me the ball and watch me talk. And that's kind of where he did his talking, was on the field. So, you know, it's exciting to see, obviously, guys step into different roles and kind of go out their comfort zone.
Desmond, for anybody stepping into a new role, there's often excitement about it, but also, can I do it or not? You know, what's it going to be like? And I'm curious kind of what, in regards to you stepping into this now, what are those feelings like for you?
Oh, I'm ready to roll. There ain't no doubt about it. You know, I'm ready to go. I know every single one of those guys in my locker room has my back, and I got theirs. So, you know, for every time we put that ball down and go to play, it's time to strap up and go.
And then, follow up on that a little bit. You know, obviously, the coaches are putting a lot of confidence in your teammates, and, you know, at the points that you're the thing that they're for the future. That obviously, I'm sure, gives you a lot of confidence, but also means that there's probably a lot riding on your shoulders. And I'm curious, do you feel that a responsibility or obligation or whatever it is to, you know, I got to do my job to do the best I can and all those sorts of things?
I feel that responsibility every single day because that is my job. That is my responsibility, is to make sure not only myself is doing everything that I can to push this team forward, but everyone else as a whole, as an offense, as a special teams, as a defense, as a team, that we're all moving in the right direction. So, you know, as the job and position of quarterback, you know, I feel that pressure every single day of just going out there and making sure that everyone's where they need to be, and that, you know, we're, like we were talking earlier, we're running a smoothest and flawless team.
I know there's a million things, but if I asked you one specific thing that jumped out to you most last year when you played about the difference in the NFL compared to playing in college, what was it?
I would just say the windows. Obviously the windows close, and then you get in the red zone and the windows get even smaller and close a lot faster. But just, you know, as far as you get into man coverage too, you know, you talk about, you know, back in college, you might have had one guy been able to run away from a guy, whatever it may have been. You know, now everyone in man coverage back there on that end is just as good, if not, you know, better than what you have. And so, you know, you have to manipulate, you have to find different windows, you have to make things, you know, happen.
You have to move faster.
I have to move a little bit faster, but, you know, and like I've said before, there's a lot of times where it's moving faster physically, but not really. But it's also moving faster mentally. But then as everything's going around you and everything's fast and everything's flying around, sometimes it's how can you slow it down in your head or in your mind or whatever to just go out there and play.
I know you guys don't make the schedule, but it's opening weekend and it's a division game. Kind of exciting, kind of make a good start in the division, make a statement right off the bat too.
Yeah, that's huge. We know obviously anytime we get a chance to play a division opponent, those are obviously big games. They mean a lot. So for us to, you know, open up and start with Carolina just like we did last year with the Saints, you know, obviously hopefully we'll have a better outcome than we did. But, you know, it's huge for us obviously to go out there and set the tone, not only for our team as a whole, but, you know, when you talk about our division and the way people see us and how we play, because, you know, when we step out there on Sunday, that's the first time that, you know, us as a starters team will be able to go out there and put what we represent on film. So, you know, I'm excited for that, excited to go up against, you know, a great Carolina team, great defense, and it'll be exciting.
Their defense, they're switching up a little bit to 3-4. You know, who are some of the guys? I guess Shaq Thompson. I don't know if Burns will be there, but what is your assessment of that group over there? Yeah,
obviously Shaq is, you know, kind of the heart and soul of that defense. Everything kind of runs through him. You know, he's a guy that's been in the league, you know, a little while and has seen a lot of ball, very instinctive. And then you got guys like Luvu, who is just, you know, a guy who flies around the ball, you know, see ball, get ball type player. And then you got, obviously, like we said, got your guys up front. You got Shy. You got Burns if he plays. Houston on the other side. Williams if he gets in there. You know, there's a couple key guys, you know, that we got to make sure that we take care of, both out front and on the outsides. But like I said, you know, it's a team that is going to come in here and is going to play hard until the whistle blows. And, you know, we just have to be ready for that and give it back to them.
The joint practice against Miami, did that help? Because they were in pretty much what y'all.
Yeah, they were kind of in, you know, a similar type style. So obviously being able to see that, you know, a couple of weeks ago really helps. But like I said, you know, they got a new DC, you know, a whole new coaching staff. So they come out and do, you know, realistically whatever they want to do. And so, you know, when that goes back to the preparation, that's part of what we got to be prepared for anything.
Time for one more?
Desmond, you've spent some good time with Bijan now. What's something about him that has surprised you?
Something that surprised me that I didn't know, you know, anything about him before was, you know, how humble he is. And obviously he's a hard worker, but, you know, obviously he comes from, you know, the spotlight down there in Texas and everything. So, you know, sometimes you might assume, you know, he might have one way or another. I played with a guy named Saul, so I've seen the levels of stardom and everything. But no, you know, he's just came in here and just been incredibly humble. He just came in here and put his head down and worked his butt off. And, you know, I think you'll see it pay off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Coach Gray, what's your sense of where the unit is? Y'all been putting a lot of pieces together, and now you got some live action coming up here. How do you think everything's been done as far as getting ready and prepared for the season opener?
Well, you know, the guys have been working. I think that's a good thing, and they've been out there competing in practice. And ever since training camp, I thought we did a really good job against Miami when we went down there. Guys understand what we're expecting out of them, and you know, we just want to make sure they keep working. You know, hey, I know we're getting ready to play Carolina, but we still got to keep the focus on us this week until the game comes.
To that end, I mean, when it comes to prepping for this Carolina offense that has a head coach that was previously somewhere else and a brand new rookie quarterback, I mean, what kind of goes into your thought process when you're kind of leading up to game prep this week?
Well, one of the good things is I'm one of the older guys on the staff, which is very rare that I can say that. But, you know, I kind of take a look at the background of the head coach. You know, he's been at Philly when they won the Super Bowl. He was offensive coordinator. He's been at Indy, so people kind of tend to forget that. And I'm old enough to know that if you go back and take a look and see what they've done there, they're pretty much going to do the same thing. And they have a young quarterback. I think he's an excellent young man. I watched him when he won the Heisman Trophy. I watched him against all the DBs that he went against and did a really good job. So they got a good quarterback over there. He's just young. That's the only thing different. So what we got to do is we got to go out there and prepare like we playing a guy in the NFL. It doesn't matter how many years you have in the NFL. Anyone can beat you here at this given time. So we got to go out and prepare as if we're going against a top quarterback, which we know he is.
What does make Bryce Young so challenging?
Well, number one, when you look at him, he's been at Alabama, and their expectation win that championship. So when you go there and you're a quarterback, and we know they put out a lot of good quarterbacks, they expect for you to win. And he's been through there for 3-4 years. So the NFL pressure is probably not going to get him. It's the coverages and stuff like that that may trick him a little bit. But other than that, you know, he's been through the pressure cooker. So I thought that, you know, when you look at him, he's a calm guy. He's always has the same demeanor. Doesn't matter if he's in college or getting hit in, you know, with the Jets game, he comes right back the next play. So, you know, you see a confident quarterback. You see a really good quarterback and a guy who actually played at a high level.
These first games, a lot of times, are a different animal. You get a little bit more time to prepare for them. You guys are looking at tape, I'm assuming. From a retention standpoint for your guys defensively, when do you start kind of looking at Carolina? Did that happen back in camp, or do you just reserve that to this week?
Well, you know, one of the things that we try to do as coaches is to kind of give them snippets of training camp and stuff like that. They don't know it's Carolina, but we actually, when we get a chance to card, we card stuff that we know that we think we might get. So we want to see how that fits, how that fits. And then this week we start talking about Carolina. But they don't know they've been kind of preparing for Carolina ever since the spring and training camp and stuff like that, especially when we get carded periods.
How does it work between you and Ryan in terms of game prep during the week, game planning, and then on game day? How do you two sort of, you know, shift off responsibilities or play off each other?
Well, the biggest thing is that, you know, Ryan doesn't have an ego, I don't have an ego. And then, Arthur says, hey, this is how we want to put it together. Ryan, he'll be pushing the buttons on Sunday. And I'm going to be saying, hey, look, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's just a thought. Because sometimes you can get kind of stuck in your head and get in a rhythm of calling these plays, not forgetting that the other team is scouting you also. So I'm going to be that guy that's kind of like that little thing on his shoulders, like, hey, now we've ran this more than that, so what about this? So change up here. It's just little things that I can kind of give him pointers on that he may not have been in. So now it gives him a better chance of calling the game a complete game, not just what I know. I want to give him the experience of what I've actually done.
Since it's a really new staff on that side of the ball and you've got a lot of new players on that side of the ball, is it natural there's going to be sort of a feeling out process as the season goes on, not just on the field but off the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural process, but I think, hopefully our guys understand what we expect out of them, and we don't have a bunch of slow starts. We want our guys to go out there and play fast, play together and communicate. That's the biggest thing that Ryan preaches a lot. And, when the guys understand how they're playing and they take ownership of the defense, then the defense will work on his own. They don't have to sit there and wait on Jared and Ryan to give them anything.
Going back to preparing for Bryce, you have a safety in DeMarcco who played with him, played against him in many practices over the years. Do you ask him to help you in any way, help you be the defense, just game plan or pick?
Oh, of course. I mean, anytime you have a reference of a guy who's actually been in the seats, been there, listened to what they preach, what they tell him. He may not have been in the offensive meetings, but he understands what he's about, how he communicates, what his whole demeanor is during practice. What about in a game when they're behind? What about when he's ahead? That's really the stuff that we want to know as coaches. We can watch film and see that he can throw the football, he can throw the out, he can throw the go, but we can't see what his demeanors are. And that's the thing that we kind of get information from our players.
How would you describe this DB unit compared to teams you've coached in the past, whether it was with the Packers or Vikings? Those guys have always spoken really highly of you as a coach, and I'm curious what your perspective is of this DB group.
Well, right now I think they're kind of getting a chance to know me, and they haven't been around me, I guess, in game time, so they really don't know that I'm better on game day. During the week I'm okay, but on the game day I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. I try to get them things that's going to help them win, and so I think from Minnesota, Green Bay, that's kind of what the guys see. Okay, well, coach is good. He's good at this. He's good at that. And that's kind of what I do on Sunday.
For you on Sunday, when you kind of flip that switch to where you're better, what do you think specifically in the run of play makes you better in that action?
Well, I kind of home in on what the guys are doing. I drown out the distractions, what they can't do, and look at what they can do. And a lot of times, like football players are always thinking, well, what about this, what about that? I throw it out the window. Here's what they're doing. This is what we got to go stop. This is what we can go compete to do. And then the game is really easy on Sunday. Just to be honest, the game is easy. You're going to have 65 to 75 plays. You ain't got to worry about drawing cards. You ain't got to worry about all this other stuff that you do during the week. You just home in on the opponent. And the opponent is only going to give you so much stuff that they can do. They can't come up with new plays and all of a sudden run them in one day and be good at it. So we know that, but right now as coaches, we try to give you all this hard stuff, but on Sunday, I think the game is real easy.
You kind of alluded to this in bits and pieces, but I'm just curious, how difficult are opening games? Because you don't really know, there's not film to watch. You could watch film of Bryce from college, and you could see what Frank Reich's done before in previous jobs, but you don't really know what they're going to do, right? I'm just curious from a different.
No, you're not 100% sure what they're going to do. So you have to be adjustable. I think if you get closed-minded and say this is all they're going to do, you're going to get trapped in game one because you really don't know. And the good thing is they really don't know what we're going to do either. So it's a give and take. So the good thing is we don't always want to be on defense. Sometimes we want to be on offense and hopefully make their offense a little bit, uneasy to, hey, there are some unscouted looks that they haven't seen, so let's see what they do. So again, there are some things that it's a give and take in the first game, and that's why I think most first games are always closer than people expect. I'm anxious to see what this game is going to be like on Thursday. Because Kansas City, they're playing at home. Everybody expects Kansas City to win, but there are some unscouted looks that they haven't seen from Detroit. So that's kind of how all first games are.
Jerry, how much does the versatility of the roster, to speak to exactly what you're talking about, the ability to maybe amoeba into whatever you need to be because of the versatility of the guys you have on the roster?
Well, you know, the good thing is we've actually done a bunch of stuff, and we're blending some things together that was from last year to this year, what Ryan likes, kind of what I've kind of seen over the years, and that does give us a lot of flexibility. You know, we could go out there and play certain things that we haven't shown on tape, and our guys are really good at it, and that's the good thing is, well, we know what our guys can do, so it's up to us as coaches to put them in that position, let them go out there and do it.
When it comes to, I know obviously y'all are working to get Jeff Okudah back, but I remember we talked in Miami and you made the comment that it was like you want to make sure that he is as on his P's and Q's in terms of watching film, doing his homework, staying up to date. Where do you assess kind of where he is right now, even though he hasn't been on the field?
Well, mentally, I think he's ready to play. You know, we watch film every morning. We go in, we go through stuff. Hey, Coach, what about this? What about that? So he's taking notes as if he's playing. And then Coach Smith and all the rest of the people that are above me will make that decision when he's going to go out there. But I know mentally he's ready to go, you know, and that's what I tried to get him to understand. You have to mentally be prepared so when your numbers call, you're ready to go.
What have you been impressed with when it comes to Jeff so far?
Well, you know, his willingness to I guess as a guy who's a third-round pick, he's not egotistical. You know, he's not that guy that says, hey, I know everything. He wants more. Hey, give me more, Coach, give me more. So he's always, pretty much always in my office, like, hey, when can we meet? When can we meet? So I think it's a good thing because when you find good players like that, they really don't show you vulnerability. He does.
Obviously, he was dealing with a lot of injuries and stuff when he was in Detroit. Do you get a sense that this is kind of a breath of fresh air for Jeff?
Well, you know, like I told him, when things happen, you can't control stuff that you have no control over. But the thing you got control over, you do. What do you have control over right now? I can study film. I can get my mind right to go. I can be prepared to go. So when I am ready to go and Arthur and them and those guys say, hey, he's ready to go back out there, he's not going to take a step back because he's mentally ready to go. And a lot of times they don't put mental preparation in. When most guys not playing, they're off for 3 weeks, mentally and physically. And when they come back, they're trying to play catch up. And that was one of the things I would try to get them to understand. Don't be a catch up mental guy. Just be catch up physically so when you go out there, you're ready to go. That's it. All right, thank you.
Okay, so first and foremost, you were named the team captain the other day, which I'm sure was really cool for you, especially on a new team. How great was that honor?
Yeah, it's always a good honor, you know, especially when it's voted by, you know, players, you know, my teammates that I've been, you know, continue to get to learn and get to know each other the past 7 weeks. You know, something that I will not take lightly, something I'll keep on my shoulder, keep on my chest and see it's a big deal. It comes with a lot of responsibility that it's not my first time being a captain. So like I said, I know, you know, what a captain is supposed to do, you know, on a good team. So yeah, I'm excited for the challenge. And like I said, I will not take it for granted.
Said challenge, what kind of challenges does Carolina present?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, week one is always a challenge, you know, not knowing exactly what they're going to run and stuff like that, you know, kind of chasing ghosts. But, you know, they got really good players. They're kind of trying to piece their players together. They got a lot of, you know, free agency signings with Adam Thielen. To start off with, he's a really good receiver, very crafty, smart, experienced. And then, you know, obviously the number one pick is always a pretty big deal. He's super talented, got, you know, the arm strength to make every throw, and also got the legs to kind of extend plays. So they present some challenges, like I said, but that's going to be every week. You know, it's going to be about us and how we execute, how we, you know, control the field position and all that good stuff. So it'll be a challenge, but I think we're up for it.
The fact that it's a division rival to open the season, how much do you welcome that as a way to set the tone for the rest of the year?
Yeah. You know, we talk about in this building, you know, winning our division. When you win your division, you go to the playoffs. And I feel like when you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. You know, there's one game you win or you go home. But the first thing you have to do is win your division. So, yeah, this game will count for a little bit more. And, you know, it's something that, you know, we talk about. It's just another game. You know, it's just week one. We want to go 1-0. But, yeah, it's a divisional game. And we're not going to take it lightly.
How much is that a topic of conversation, winning the division? Because I know you guys are really hungry in this building.
Yeah, I feel like that's what you got to talk about every year. You know, we always talk about the Super Bowl, playoffs, and the division is the first thing you got to take care of, and also, you know, protecting the home field is the big thing as well. So, you know, it's gonna be week 1. We're here.
How would you just describe the energy in the building this week? I mean, week 1 is what you've been working for all week.
Yeah, you know, we had those 3 days off. You know, coming back, it was like first day of school. People got fresh haircuts. You know, it's a lot of excitement around this building because, you know, we got some good stuff brewing. A great opportunity to, like I said, win our division and get back to the playoffs and get this thing back on track and give the fans exactly what they deserve.
That excitement, do you feel like you need to temper it at all, like in the lead up to the game? Can you possibly be like kind of too hyped up when you go into that first game? Can that be a negative?
Yeah, I think that's where, you know, the leaders on this team have to step up. The guys that have played multiple first games. We're going to have some rookie guys out there that's playing for their first time. Myself playing the first time in Atlanta. It's going to be a little bit nervous, but that's when the leaders got to step up on this team and, you know, get back to what we're good at. Like I said, it's going to be about us and how we execute within our own scheme, and then the rest going to fall out how it falls.
DeMarcco Hellams is a guy that obviously earned a spot on this roster. He's one of those rookies, and you're talking about playing for the first time. How much does he pick your brain in terms of trying to get better?
Yeah, DeMarcco, I'm super impressed. Obviously, he comes from, you know, a really good organization with, you know, Nick Saban and all those guys. So I think talking ball kind of comes easy to him. But the biggest thing is, as a rookie, you got to understand, you know, he may not play multiple defensive snaps, but the snaps that he'll play on special teams are just as important for this team, for us to have success. So that's the biggest thing. I don't have any problems with Marco talking about football. It's more so about his mindset. And, you know, week in and week out, it's hard in this league to do. You know, instead of college, you got, you know, some warm-up games or whatever, and then you got to go play a big game. It's every week. It's week in and week out, and you got to be consistent to be good in this league.
Who has the best week 1 haircut?
I'm looking kind of rough right now. Hopefully I'll have the best haircut coming tomorrow. So,
Speaking of DeMarcco, do you pick his brain at all with this quarterback that you're facing, Bryce Young? I mean, he's a guy who would have gone up against him in practice so many times.
Yeah. He's had his 3 years with Bryce Young there. So the way he moves around the pocket and stuff like that, what he's good at, is something that, you know, we kind of lean on Marco as far as, you know, what he looks at, you know, pre-snap, post-snap. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's Marco's buddy, but not this week.
You kind of touched on going into week 1 that sense of nervousness a little bit. So what kind of helps with those jitters?
I think the biggest thing is when you're prepared. When we're prepared, and like I said, for those 7 weeks, we haven't just been walking in this building and doing anything. We've been walking in this building and getting better every single day at, you know, new schemes that have that we've been, you know, installing throughout the weeks. So obviously, like I said, there's going to be jitters. That's natural. But, you know, when you're prepared and you mentally, you know, you're physically prepared, mentally prepared, I think those nerves actually go away after, you know, the first play, after you hit somebody. So, yeah, the nerves are a good thing. If you don't have nerves, then you shouldn't be here.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you. Week 1, obviously you're going against a quarterback who you were very familiar with. How much are people asking you in this building about Bryce Young?
It doesn't happen as often as you might think, but you know, people definitely, you know, are asking for my insight or, you know, any little, you know, birds and rabbits that I may have on Bryce that a lot of people might not know.
What did Bryce do to you in practices in Tuscaloosa when you were going up against him?
We competed, you know. Bryce is a good player, but, you know, I feel like I'm a good player too. So, you know, we definitely had some plays against each other. You know, he's a great teammate, great competitor. You know, so, you know, I'm definitely happy for Bryce where he's at right now.
What makes him challenging as a quarterback?
You know, I'd definitely say, you know, it's more mental for Bryce. You know, as, you know, a lot of quarterbacks, you know, when a bad thing happens, you know, they can get shell-shocked or, you know, can start to, you know, run away from the moment. You know, Bryce is always a guy who, you know, embraces adversity. You know, he embraces, you know, when things get tough. So, you know, that's something that separates him.
How much have you been able to pick up from a guy like Jesse, obviously named the captain yesterday, one of the captains, just how much leadership that he's been able to provide for you as a rookie coming in?
He's been able to provide, a lot for me, whether it's on the field, as far as, what he's looking at, things that he sees that can help me as a rookie, help me, develop my game, off the field, just kind of be like a big brother to me, just let me know the way, how things go, as far as adjusting to your first year in the league, and, just being a great teammate, always, helping out other teammates, helping out the rookies a lot. And just being there, whenever I have a question or, whenever I just need some advice. So, his captain, Nah, was definitely deserving. And Jessie's been a great teammate.
There's so much anticipation, I'm sure, on the player side as well for this first week, for the first game. Do you ever feel like you need to temper that down throughout the week so that you can kind of make it through, or do you just kind of let that excitement kind of flow through you throughout?
It's a little bit of highs and lows. You can't get, too hyped about the game. You got to get there first. There's definitely preparation that goes into, that Sunday for the game. But, you definitely come out there that first day, once you start watching film, learning the plays for the week, you definitely start to feel ready to go, feeling like you can play, in the parking lot if you had to. But it's definitely a roller coaster to get there. You don't want to be too high, don't want to be too low. You want to go into the game just right.
Like, obviously you had a really good preseason or you wouldn't be here right now, but it is your first game of your rookie season. How do you kind of channel those emotions and still be excited about it, but also focus on the game like you were talking about?
First, I just try to separate things, as far as, I'm at a new team, new coaches, new teammates. But at the end of the day, it's still the same football field, I've been playing on since I was 5 years old. So, I definitely try to, separate things so, things don't get, too much in my head as far as, I'm in the league now or, I'm on a 53-man roster now. I just take it one day at a time, one game at a time. And, whenever my moment comes, whatever I need to do for the team, I'll be ready for it.
Is that learned at Alabama?
Yeah, definitely something that I've learned from, Coach Saban as far as preparation and not worrying about the end goal. Part of the way you get to the end goal is, going one step at a time, one day at a time.
What's it been like learning the regular week schedule now that training camp's over and preparing for a game?
It's been different. Probably the biggest difference is, I don't have study hall anymore. I don't have any schoolwork to do, so it's definitely been more football focused. Taking care of your body, and this is my first time around. Going into week one, so I definitely try to follow around the vets a little bit. Ask the older guys on the team, what their routine is, how they prepare for the game, how they get their body right for the game.
Week one, how's it feel to get started here?
Yeah, it's exciting. Another year. Obviously, our intention's to win, and haven't gotten it done in the past. And I think we're setting ourselves up to start fast this year, and that's our intention.
What are some of the things that I know they have a new quarterback, but some of the things you have to look for in this Carolina defense?
Yeah, they've got some playmakers, guys that have been there for a while. Obviously Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson, Brian Burns, great player. So we gotta play well. We gotta bring it. I mean, I can say that every week. It's the NFL, but they've got really good players that have proved it, and just play our game and practice what we've been doing, and keep building off what we did. Excuse me, this whole training camp. I think we're building a good identity and becoming what we want to be.
You've been here for a minute. What's different about this season heading into week one?
I think just this third year with Art and the mindset he's brought in, and I think a lot of more guys get it after being in it for a couple of years, and I think that our confidence is up, and we just have a mindset and a way we want to play, and I think a lot of the guys understand it. We're gonna be a team that battles and fights their way through anything and doesn't make excuses. So yeah, I like where our headspace is at.
What have you seen from Desmond Ridder this week? Just, is there an extra edge to him? Is there any level of excitement? Just what have you seen from him that's maybe a little different? Yeah,
him finishing out those 4 games last year, you could tell he was a rookie a little bit. But this year, man, he's on it. He's not missing calls in the huddle or reciting plays, and there's some lengthy ones. So he's been doing a good job, and his leadership, man. He goes out there and his confidence is up, and I got all the confidence in the world in him. So I like what he's shown.
When you come into a week like this, sometimes it's with injury, but obviously with Burns, he's got this thing going on where he may or may not play. I assume you prepare for him, but what kind of wrinkle does that throw in for you, an offensive lineman who would be preparing to go up against a speed rusher like that?
Yeah, expect him to play. And then, like I said, he's a good player. He's proved it. And part of being a pro, you'd be ready for whatever. So I'm expecting him to play. And, you know, something got to account for, no doubt.
One of the things that Arthur was talking about today when it comes to Bijan Robinson is that his maturity has kind of been surprising, and that he's a little bit more mature than he even thought. What have you noticed from Bijan kind of off the field and on the field?
He's just one of those guys you want to root for. He's a good guy who, just from the first day I've noticed when he comes in, he works really hard. You want to do well for him. And not to mention he's a hell of an athlete. So just watching him on the field, I'm really looking forward to hopefully setting him up to watch him run down the sideline. But yeah, he's really improved, and just his ability he's good at everything from what I can tell. So I'm excited to see him play this year.
When you see Matthew getting ready to play in his first game, does that take you back a few years to try to remember what it was like when you were a rookie playing?
Yeah, it was such a blur. Hopefully his isn't the same. But yeah, playing as a rookie, man, it's a different game. And obviously me being quite older than him, I'm trying to do everything I can to get him up to speed. And I was just saying earlier how I respect and have been impressed with a lot of the things he's done this year. Just one, his maturity. He comes in every day. You don't have to worry about him, you know, not having the mindset to work, and his mental ability too. Like he's on it. A lot of guys can clam up and not make their calls, or you know, they're overthinking it. But he's sharp, man. He's been doing a good job, and you know, I expect a lot playing next to him for hopefully a long time.
What did it mean to you to be named a team captain again?
Yeah, I mean, very humbling and an honor. I mean, you come in here every day with these guys, and everyone's busting, and for a group of people you respect so much to say, you know, something about you in that way, I don't take it lightly. So, yeah, huge honor.
Third year in a row, right?
Yeah, who's counting? Yeah, third year.
Does that surprise you at all? That you're.
I'd like to think
you feel like a leader?
I'd like to think I've been around long enough that the guys respect me. But yeah, no, I'm not giving any roaring halftime speech like in a movie, but I think I lead by good example, and I speak up when you need to.
Who does give that speech?
I don't think anyone. I don't think those are realistic.
Sounds like it's your time to shine.
Hey, maybe I'll start rehearsing. I'll write something down, see how it goes.
Steal from a movie, they do that anyway.
Yeah.
All right, guys, anything else?
That's good.